Hey everyone, it's Big Sloss, and today we are talking about Hades because I am 5 years late to this party, and I have had this game in my Steam library for years, and I haven't gotten to playing it till last week. Last week was the first time I played this game, and then I came to the realization, I was like, oh wow, this is actually really fun. Even though that's what everyone else has been saying, I just haven't gotten around to it. Now, as always, if you like this video, feel free to like, subscribe, or leave a comment if you have anything you'd like to add. But yeah, we're talking about Hades today. I do have Hades 2, and Hades 2 is more recent, coming out last month, but this game came out 5 years ago. I am 5 years late to this party. Now, the footage you're seeing right now isn't the Hades save that I have on my Steam. This is the Hades save I have on the Xbox. So, one benefit of Game Pass is I get to play this game for free on Xbox, but I'm also not spending $30 on Xbox Game Pass. I just have the essential version. That being said, this is still a fun game to play on the Xbox, and if you want to try it out, it is on Game Pass right now. Don't know for how long. On my save for the Steam version, though, I am a lot farther along. I have gotten to Hades a few times. I beat his first phase, and then his second phase absolutely floored me, but you know what? That's okay. That's okay. On this save, I've only gotten to Hydra, and you'll see me fight him at the end here. I do have clips in here of Hades 2 that is being recorded off of my Nintendo Switch, so it's only in 30-second intervals, but it's also fun, and even though I just have a Switch 1, it still runs at a pretty smooth 60 FPS, which is kind of cool. That all being said, I have never really been too much of a fan of roguelikes. I've played a few of them. I think the one that I've played the most was called Rogue Hero or something. It was on the Switch. It was also on my Steam Deck. It was very cheap and inexpensive, so I just got it mainly for the art style, and it was a fun game. Games where the whole point is seeing how far you get, and there's not really like a victory on it, is always kind of a struggle for me. I like winning. So a game where you lose over and over and over and over and over again so that you get better until you win sometimes doesn't really appeal to me. But that kind of went out the door for this game because you get to fight a bunch of cool monsters. You get to play in this really nice art style. And it was enough to go... It was enough for me to look past that and go, okay, let me give this a shot. And I really enjoy it. So much so that I did buy Hades 2 at a higher price than I got Hades 1. I bought Hades 1 for $5 on some Steam sale. And then for Hades 2, I bought it full price. But I figured it'd be worth it. It's still not a full price game like a AAA game that's $80 for half of the fun. This kind of goes into what I've talked about before with indie games playing better than or being more fun than AAA titles. Now, I don't really know if Supermassive Games is what you would refer to as an indie studio, but the games do give off that kind of vibe. But a lot of these indie games, or indie style games, I don't know, they do prioritize fun, and they prioritize your engagement in the game more than anything else, where I feel like a lot of AAA games prioritize how much money you can give them in some sort of monetized fashion. Now, I do think when it comes to super monetized games, a lot of companies are starting to move away from that trend because they realize it makes them look greedy and not so good in a PR sense. Bethesda still does it. You know, I like old Bethesda games, but I haven't really supported their company recently. And I mean, just take Diablo 4, for example. I'm sure it's a fun game, but who in their right mind buys a game for $70 or $60 and then there's a skin on that game that you only see from a top-down perspective, so you never really see a lot of detail, but the skin costs $20. How does the skin offer the same amount of value as a third of the whole game? Isn't that kind of weird? I don't know if that makes sense. But indie games, their games are normally cheaper and offer a lot of fun value. And this game offers a lot of replay value because you have a bunch of different weapons that change the style of the game. Heck, you can make this into a semi-twin stick shooter with at least two of the weapons, the bow and then like that Egypt-styled like gun. But you know, these games are prioritizing fun, the fun factor over monetization. And I wish that AAA studios go back to that. And, you know, there is one AAA studio that I love a lot, and that is id Software. I'll make a video about them later, a positive video, because I think what they do as a AAA studio is better, and I hope that the rest of AAA gaming can look at them as a shining example of what to do to make a fun game. But right now, indie games are just killing it because they make games that are fun. They make games that look good. You know, they're not just shooting for realism, they're shooting for style. And when I play this game has such a good style. I didn't even realize that that's a 2D sprite. Hades is apparently a 2D sprite, but it's so graphically enhanced that it looks 3D. And I've seen people do that before, but not to this effect, or not to this successful effect. Made it to Asphodel. I get to Elysium in this run, but I don't make it to the, I guess kind of like the Colosseum, where you fight the Minotaur and Theseus, I think. Another reason why I like this game is I also just like Roman mythology and Greek mythology. I'm an artist, so a lot of my art history classes that I took involved Roman art more than anything else. And so seeing the mythology here is just, it activates my art brain a little bit. You know, and I also probably know a lot more about this mythology than the layman, again, just because of my art history courses. I also know just a lot about Roman history now, but it honestly goes hard. It honestly goes hard. Like, there was a few hundred years where Roman emperors just flat out did not last very long. It was the soldier emperor era, where a different soldier would become an emperor, like rise through the ranks, become an emperor, and then some other sect of the military would kill them, and then they would take the reins of the emperor, and the process would just repeat itself over and over again. I think the longest reign was probably like 8 years. One of them had the coolest name ever, Maximinus Thrax. That's crazy. One of them was a child, and needless to say, the child did not last long. That's just so dark, so morbid. But I wanted to talk about Hades. I wanted to talk about how fun this game was. I'll see you all in the next video, and bye-bye, everybody.